We finally made it after a very tight layover in Charlotte. And yeah, we barely made it with maybe 20 minutes to spare. Any other hiccups and we wouldn't have made it. But we're here, we're tired, we've been traveling all night, and we're ready to go chill out on the beach.
It's about 85 degrees, pretty warm, but there's a nice breeze, so it's a little cloudy today, but
Since we arrived so early at the Renaissance, our room wasn't ready. One of the nice perks about staying there is they have their own private island that they shuttle you out to, complete with restaurant facilities and the famous Flamingo Beach. After a relaxing day at the beach, it was time to check in at the Renaissance for a good night's sleep. The next morning we checked in at Southeast Aruba Fly and Dive for our first day of diving. Our first dives were off the Renaissance Island, which is very near to the cruise ship docks, where unfortunately they'd been doing a lot of dredging, so visibility was pretty poor by Caribbean standards. We did manage to see some interesting sea life, including this eel and a very elusive, shy sea turtle. We had our gear serviced before we left on this trip. Unfortunately, Amy had nothing but problems, including a flooded computer on our first two dives. That evening, we took a taxi down to Surfside Beach and dined at the Barefoot Restaurant. Awesome. Thank you. I would. Alright, let's see how good he is. Voila! Like to taste good, madam? Would you like to sniff the cork? So we are at the Barefoot Bar and Grill restaurant in Aruba, and the sunset is absolutely beautiful. The weather's perfect, and the atmosphere is great. We're having a great time, and yeah, I highly recommend Aruba if you want the comforts of home, because it's pretty nice.
So this morning I went to the concierge desk and was trying to get reservations here, and I told her we'd be here till Wednesday or till Tuesday. She couldn't find. She said the only reservation she could get was 7 o'clock on the deck. We couldn't even be out on the beach. But we were running early, so we just came to have a drink, and they go, "Oh, your table's already ready," and they sat us on the beach. So we got a beautiful beach table.
So the traveler's tip is, just because they say they don't have anything on the beach doesn't
Maybe
mean
show up early.
that they don't have anything on the beach if you show up early. On our next day of diving, we dove the airplane wrecks. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of an equipment issue as a piece of plastic fell onto my dome port, lodged itself right in the view of the camera. I liked the shot so much though I went ahead and left him in. Aruba sits only about 15 miles north of South America, so instantly you think, wow, these must have been some kind of drug smugglers' planes or something of that sort. But actually they were put there for the enjoyment of divers, and Amy and I enjoyed them greatly. That evening, we headed back to the Renaissance to get ready for dinner. So Amy's famous last words, "I'll be ready in 5 minutes," and we're already late. We've got to run to our dinner reservations, so we're going to go through the hotel really fast. So we'll see how fast. I got the keys.
No, I don't.
I said I've got the keys.
I forgot my purse though. I was going to pay for the wine today.
You were? There she is.
I got ready to pop out. What did I have?
You have the surf and turf, which comes with the beef tips. It comes with the shrimp.
Tips. So tips are small when they're. And they cut them up.
Yes, we cut them up. And well, it's the tenderloin beef tips, and then well, it comes with the shrimp, the mushroom, the blue cheese, the bacon on top.
There's bacon up there too?
Yeah, there was bacon in there, like bacon, like tips, sparkle on top.
So good. It's so good. The food is amazing. It's like, I feel stupid because it's so good. I just don't want to eat. Yeah, so I mashed potatoes with their ratatouille. It's really good, but I don't eat that because I want to eat this instead. But I like to eat it all, but I can't. It's amazing.
Second time here.
Second time here.
It's that amazing.
It's that amazing. It's delicious. And I had what Bob had last time. This is better. Better.
Thank you. It's amazing.
Highly appreciate it. One of the team who make it possible.
Twice. So I want to thank everybody who's
Hey,
staying
get
here.
access also, right?
We came here twice already. We've only been here for 4 days.
Okay, nice. That's nice to hear. Thank you. Well, thank you guys for coming first.
On our last day of diving, we headed to the north side of the island to dive the SS Pedernales, which was a tanker torpedoed by the Germans in World War II. The wreck makes a great home to a variety of sea life. Our dive buddies spotted this adorable little drumfish, and I got the biggest kick out of these jawfish. They were really entertaining to look at. Amongst avid divers, it's kind of a badge of honor to spot small stuff like this flamingo tongue snail, which I felt rather proud of myself for being the only one on the dive to have caught on film. One of our dive buddies, Mona, caught sight of this little scorpion fish. Our next dive was a bit of a legend, the SS Antilla. The SS Antilla was a cargo ship that was launched in 1939 and scuttled in 1940. On May 10, 1940, Germany invaded the Netherlands, so the Dutch government ordered the seizure of all German ships in the Dutch Antilles. At 3:10 a.m. on May 10th, a section of Dutch Marines in 2 boats approached the Antilla to board her, but Captain Schmidt refused to lower the gangway. The Dutch Marines were commanded by a captain who anticipated armed resistance from the German crew. He therefore postponed the boarding until first light, when a machine gun positioned ashore could provide better cover. The German crew used the delay to start scuttling Antilla. One crewman locked himself in the engine room, opened her seacocks, and climbed out through the funnel. Other crews set fire to several parts of the ship. At 5 a.m., the Dutch Marines boarded the ship, and at 5:30 a.m., the German crew was assembled on the poop deck. The Marines escorted the crew ashore in a lifeboat and handed them into the custody of the Dutch, where the 35 crew members remained in various prisons throughout the Caribbean until the end of the war. Antilla is one of the Caribbean's largest shipwrecks, exceeded by only the 600-foot cruise liners Bianca C off Grenada and the Antilles off Mustique Island in the Grenadines. Here Amy's heading towards the deepest part of the wreck. At the stern of the ship, you can still see the rudder and part of the propellers. This wreck's been down there for some time, and this is about as far into the wreck as I'd want to dive. It's not recommended to penetrate the ship as it's really in disarray and it's somewhat dangerous. It's hard not to feel a sense of sadness as you dive this wreck. Much like the Titanic, it sunk on its maiden voyage. The next morning we stopped at the Dutch Pancake House for breakfast.
Cut it up. It's like breakfast pizza. Okay, the Dutch Pancake House review.
Well, I think I chose the wrong thing. Yours was really good. Mine was too sweet for me in the morning. Ugh.
And you had the
Brie and ham, and it had like candied walnuts on top with honey.
yeah.
It was a little too sweet for me, but it tasted really good. It'd be a good appetizer with wine.
Something about candied walnuts for breakfast, it just doesn't sound very good. I had mushroom, cheese, onion, and ham on
yours
mine.
was good.
And mine was good. It's a little salty, but it was good. It's very different from a traditional breakfast. But here's a traveler's tip. If you're coming to Aruba to the Dutch Pancake House, that's a lot of food. we could have easily split one in half.
Like with a side of bacon.
Yeah, and saved a lot of money. So anyway, but it was good. I would go back for sure.
After breakfast, we took a leisurely walk back down to the dive shop to pick up our gear. Along our walk, we stopped at this little park and enjoyed watching these green tree iguanas. Now, some people might find them scary or frightful, but you really shouldn't be too worried about them. They're actually vegetarians. And they're everywhere. Along the walk, we ran into this national tree of Aruba, the Divi. Later, we moved up island to switch hotels to the Ritz-Carlton.
How about this room?
This is beautiful.
Huh?
No, the room is really nice, and the view kind of sucks a little bit, but I think we'll deal with it.
Yeah, it sucks. Look at it. This is shitty. How can we possibly stay here? Just kidding. And who do we have to thank for this?
Thank you, DCI.
Yes, thank you DCI and the Spencer family for what a wonderful contest. It's a much bigger bathroom from what we just came from at the Renaissance. That's the toilet. I know, it looked like the shower.
Yeah, there's a phone.
I always do business when I'm there. Yeah. That a magazine rack would be perfect.
The last part of our stay, we were hosted by a company I worked closely with. The next morning, we went up to the California Lighthouse on the very northern tip of the island. Rather than take a taxi back, we thought we'd do a nice leisurely hike back to the hotel.
Go down the stair. Look.
This gentleman was nice enough to give us
When
directions.
the cactus growing like this, you know, like
Yeah,
this.
Right there, you see there?
There's a rock on the ground, left, right. Behind the cactus, like this, there's a big rock like this. After you pass it, a little bit right here, there's a narrow passage through the bushes. Where you see the last black pole over there.
20 minutes later.
That's where you have the pole there. That's where in 5 minutes you should be down there.
Okay.
And down there you can catch the bus.
Okay,
And
perfect.
in the background there on the parking lot, there's a roof for triangle. There's the arashi stack there where you can eat and drink something.
Great. Well, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
2 hours later.
Those clearly didn't help at all, did they? They didn't really want people to get out of here, did they? Come see the site of Aruba that not most tourists see. For a reason.
You made it.
We finally found this beautiful beach to take a walk on. At times, our walk forced us to take some side streets rather than walk all the way on the beach. As you can tell from some of the audio, Aruba is a very windy island, which makes it a mecca for kiteboarders. After a relaxing day at the beach, we decided to get cleaned up and check out the nightlife on Aruba. We ended up having dinner at the Muba Beach Bar and Restaurant. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Later we met friends for a drink at the open air bar. It was a late night of partying, so we slept in for a little while. Later after breakfast, Amy and I decided to try out one of the open air markets. No matter what island I've ever traveled to in the Caribbean, you're never far from an abundance of t-shirt and hat shops. Whenever we travel to a foreign country, we try to come back with fewer trinkets and something a little more artistic that maybe represents the character of that island. And we finally found it at the very end of our shopping. Later that evening, our host bussed us up to the Tierra del Sol Country Club for a wonderful dinner and an evening of partying in true carnival style.
They hurt.
Is that it? Is it cold?
Huh?
Is it cold?
It's cool. It's not cold, but it's cool. It's like my feet are...
On our last day, we decided to splurge and rent a UTV from Road Runner ATVs. While the west coast of Aruba is very developed, the east side, which is the windward side, is completely undeveloped, making it a great place to explore by off-road vehicles.
Okay, so far so good. If you can hear me at all, it's pretty windy, but that was fun. We're stopping at a little beach to check it out.
enjoyed this video and if you'll take a moment to subscribe. And we always appreciate it when you hit that big like button at the bottom.
We made it, we made it, we made it. Was that fun?
Yes, it was really fun. Thank you.
Thank you.